Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Wednesday night. This is our reading through the Tanak night, the 28th of August, 2024. Okay. I was reading last night out of Enoch 69. And so what I'm going to do tonight is, I went over this before, but I'm going to shine a light on Enoch chapter 70 and 71 uh, about the Son of Man, right? And who it is. You go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at and review. And the videos will connect dots for you and lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. If you like what you're hearing and receiving through these videos and through the channel, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. Okay. Our hours of operation, hours that we're alive, is 7 to 9, Monday through Thursdays, okay, Eastern time. Okay, and then we have our men's advanced Bible study night on Friday nights. It's also from 7 to 9, but it's on Clubhouse. And the room is non-Masonic conversation. We have two Sabbath classes, one in the morning from 10 to 12 Central Time. Then we have another Shabbat class, evening Shabbat class, where we close out the Shabbat, and it's from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time. So anywhere in there you feel a need to join in with us, that's our time, our hours of operation when we're live. Okay. Shalom and welcome to the channel. And welcome to our reading through the Tanakh. Okay. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by Lord of Hosts, our Redeemer. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, songs. We have some current events, some need to know information. Then we open it up for anybody with any comments or questions. And then we go into our topic for discussion, which is chapters 70 and 71 out of the book of Enoch. We're going to read that and break it down. Okay. It's a moment of silence for the Lord of Hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we come this day bow down and honoring you, praising you, and believing in you. And we thank you for your wisdom and knowledge that you have poured out upon us. And we see you now within the Holy Scriptures, and we trust you with all our heart and all our soul, keeping us that silence, but shine forth from our enemies with that great power and our great glory. Peace be unto you. Okay, I'll read the song. Okay. Okay, let me see what I'm going to read. I'm going to read Psalms 10. It's a prayer for the overthrow of the wicked. Why standest thou far off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? The wicked is in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth covetous whom the Lord abhorred. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. The judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursings and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the village. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privately set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in the den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up thine hand. Forget not the humble. Wherefore doeth the wicked tempt God? He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite to requite it with his hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. Break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathens are perished out of his land. Lord, thou hast heard the desires of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their hearts. Thou wilt cause thine ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more oppress. Okay, that was Psalms chapter 10. Yeah, I wanted to shine a light on. From my understanding, it's a Psalm of David. So it says that. Let me get it. It says, verse 12. He says, "Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up thine hand, and forget not the humble." So when you understand what it is, when he says lift up thy hand, is when he lifts his hands up, like he continues to say all through the scriptures, he should have his hand stretched out. So when he have his hand stretched out, judgment is in the works. So David is telling him, judge the wicked, stretch out your hand and judge the wicked. Right? So let me give you an example. We told Moses at the river, when the Pharaoh came in to the river to follow the Israelites, he told him, stretch out your hand. And when no one stretched out his hand, judgment came. The waters came back and covered the Egyptians. Okay? And we see it again in Deuteronomy 32 right here. Let me get it real quick. Deuteronomy 32 says, verse 38, 39, see now, this is the Lord of hosts off. See now that I, even I am he. There is no God, no angel with me. I kill, I make alive, I wound, I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. In verse 40, for I lift up my hands to heaven, and I say, I live forever. If I with my glistening sword and my hand take hold of judgment, there it is. So judgment. That's why David's telling him, lift your hands up, because when you do that, he's in the act of bringing forth judgment. He says, I will render vengeance to my enemies, and I will reward them that hate me. Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. We got some current events. Man, I wish I had.
September, Walmart and other major retailers are preparing for a series of changes that could shock you, from devastating shortages to economic policies that could hit your wallet hard. What you don't know, leave you completely unprepared. Today, we're diving deep into what Walmart and the government are keeping quiet and why you need to be ready. Stay tuned, because the truth might just leave you terrified. Number one, the hidden threat of economic shortages. Walmart is currently facing significant challenges due to economic instability and the potential for severe shortages in the coming months. As the fall season unfolds, experts are increasingly concerned about disruptions that could heavily impact the supply chain. These disruptions have the potential to cause widespread shortages of essential goods across the United States, affecting millions of households who rely on Walmart as a primary source for groceries and household items. Recent reports suggest that Walmart is taking precautionary measures to address these possible shortages. The company is actively increasing its inventory of key items like canned foods, pasta, and rice. This move to stockpile essential goods is not just about responding to the immediate supply chain issues, but also about preparing for a potentially prolonged period of economic instability. This preparation highlights a deeper concern within the retail industry: the possibility of a sustained shortage of everyday necessities that could disrupt daily life for many Americans. The underlying reasons for these potential shortages are complex and multifaceted. First, there are significant global supply chain issues exacerbated by geopolitical tensions, natural disasters, and economic policies. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic has already highlighted how fragile supply chains can be, causing delays and shortages that are still affecting markets today. This fragility is further tested by ongoing geopolitical conflicts that disrupt trade routes and increase shipping costs, making it more difficult and expensive for retailers like Walmart to maintain their usual inventory levels. Moreover, economic experts point to the rising cost of raw materials as a critical factor contributing to these potential shortages. As the cost of production increases, suppliers may struggle to produce and distribute goods at the volume and price previously expected. This is particularly concerning for items with complex supply chains like electronics, which require multiple components sourced from various regions worldwide. As these costs rise, they are inevitably passed down to consumers, leading to higher prices and fewer available products on shelves. Another significant concern is the labor shortage across various sectors that contribute to the supply chain. The transportation industry, in particular, has been hit hard, with a notable shortage of truck drivers and port workers. This shortage means that even when goods are available, there are not enough workers to transport them from ports to warehouses and then to retail locations like Walmart. This bottleneck can result in delays and reduced stock availability, further contributing to the scarcity of essential items. Walmart's strategy to stockpile goods is also influenced by the potential for strikes at key U.S. ports. A disruption in port operations could lead to severe delays in importing goods, which would compound the existing issues in the supply chain. This is especially concerning for perishable goods or items with a shorter shelf life, which cannot withstand long delays without risking spoilage. Consequently, Walmart is prioritizing the stockpiling of non-perishable goods that can be stored for extended periods without degradation in quality. Additionally, inflation is another pressing issue that Walmart and other retailers are contending with. As inflation rates climb, the purchasing power of consumers diminishes, making it harder for them to afford the goods they need. This decrease in purchasing power is not just a consumer issue, it affects retailers as well. As customers cut back on spending due to higher prices, Walmart could see a decrease in sales, further complicating their ability to manage inventory effectively. The culmination of these factors creates a scenario where Walmart must carefully navigate the risks of overstocking versus understocking. Overstocking could lead to wasted resources and unsold goods if consumer demand does not meet expectations. On the other hand, understocking could mean missing out on potential sales and not meeting consumer needs during time. Scarcity. This delicate balance is why Walmart is taking such a proactive approach, closely monitoring global trends and adjusting its inventory strategies accordingly to prepare for any scenario. Number 2, surging prices and the declining value of your dollar. The declining value of the US dollar has become a pressing concern, especially as inflation continues to rise, affecting every corner of the consumer market, including Walmart and other retail giants. The dollar's purchasing power has diminished by 25% over the past few years, meaning the same amount of money buys significantly fewer goods than before. This reduction in purchasing power is largely driven by a combination of factors, including excessive money printing by the government, increasing national debt, and ongoing economic policies that have not favored sustainable economic growth. As housing demand increases, there is a push to develop more land for residential use, which could lead to a reduction in the amount of land available for farming. The reduction in farmland could significantly impact the state's ability to produce essential crops, thereby reducing the overall food supply that California contributes to the national market. Additionally, California's push for price gouging laws is creating further complications. These laws are designed to prevent businesses from raising prices excessively during emergencies, but they also have side effects that can negatively affect the food supply chain. For example, farmers and suppliers facing increased production costs due to labor shortages, water restrictions, and other local regulations may find themselves unable to adjust prices to cover their costs. This financial strain could lead to decreased production, as farmers might decide to plant less or even leave the industry entirely, further tightening the food supply. Furthermore, California's stringent environmental regulations aimed at reducing water usage and protecting local ecosystems have placed additional pressure on the agricultural sector. Disruptions and strikes. The potential for widespread strikes at U.S. ports poses a significant risk to the stability of supply chains across the country, with implications that go beyond delayed shipments. Ports are a critical part of the global trade network, handling approximately 90% of all goods entering the United States. If a strike occurs, it could severely disrupt this flow, leading to significant delays, empty shelves, and rising costs across various sectors, including food, electronics, automotive parts, and more. Port strikes usually arise from unresolved labor disputes, typically over wages, benefits, and working conditions. In recent years, there has been increasing tension between port workers and employers over the introduction of automation, which threatens job security for many dock workers. The International Longshore and Warehouse Union, ILWU, and the Pacific Maritime Association, PMA, have been at odds over contract negotiations, with automation being a major sticking point. If an agreement isn't reached, a strike could shut down operations at multiple ports along the West Coast, including major ones like Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Oakland. This would halt the unloading of cargo, leading to massive backlogs of container ships and compounding delays throughout the supply chain. In anticipation of potential strikes, Walmart and other major retailers are taking proactive measures to mitigate the impact. They are increasing inventory levels of non-perishable goods and essential items that can be stored for extended periods. Walmart is also exploring alternative routes and methods for transporting goods, such as air freight, to bypass potentially congested ports. While air freight is significantly more expensive, it offers a faster way to move high-value or urgently needed products. However, this option is limited by the capacity constraints and costs associated with air transport, which are much higher than ocean freight. Another strategy that companies like Walmart are employing is the diversification of their supplier base. By sourcing products from a wider range of countries and regions, they reduce
already investing, but looking
dependency on any single port or geographic area that might be affected by strikes. This not only helps to mitigate the risks associated with labor disputes, but also protects against other disruptions, such as natural disasters or geopolitical tensions. For example, instead of relying heavily on Chinese manufacturers, Walmart is increasingly sourcing from countries like Vietnam, India, and Mexico, spreading their supply risk more evenly. Strikes can also affect inland logistics, as delays at the ports lead to congestion in warehouses and distribution centers.
So you say, why am I playing this? So the title of it is what Walmart is hiding after September. We leave you terrified. So they got a plan after September. Like I told you, September is their month. The powers that be, they always got stuff playing. Whatever they're gonna do is gonna be in September. Because it's like September 11th and other events that happen in September. So, like I said, Trump's trial or his decision or his verdict, whatever you want to call it, for those charges, 34 counts, is set for September 18th. So, like I said before, if he's convicted, just imagine the chaos that's going to come off of that, which will affect the economy. Any comments on that?
Yeah, they got I was watching the news, NBC Los Angeles and Fox 11 Los Angeles, and they trying to pass a bill right now for California bill that could pass undocumented migrants to own homes. They giving them $150,000 loans for illegal migrants to purchase homes. And
Right.
we know how many homeless people is there in California, but they're gonna give
Exactly.
$150,000 to migrants. It's a what they call that, a keg. You know how you got a dynamite and all this. It's about to blow up, is what I'm saying.
With powder keg.
A powder keg, yes, sir.
Right. Oh yeah, that's intentional. Okay. You got another one right here.
We are headed for all-out war in the Middle East. Just over the last few hours, major war escalation, very drastic action by the United States military has come to an absolute pinnacle over this weekend. In the last month, the U.S., of course, has moved tons of forces into the Middle East, into the region, fighter jet squadrons, strategic bombers, submarines, aircraft carriers, destroyers. The U.S. chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is in Israel this weekend. If you're listening to us on this Monday, this August 26th, by the time you're hearing us, we may already be at a full-blown war. And this, of course, we've been warning about this for many, many months. Would the United States be dragged into a regional war, and how devastating that would be for the U.S. economy, the U.S. dollar, which is still trying to recover right now. The U.S. dollar under inflationary pressure. Of course, the government now looking to slash interest rates as we head into the fall. That's why over the past few days, of course, you've seen a flood of surge in gold prices, precious metals prices, and we got new data, of course, out about China and Russia stockpiling large amounts of gold and silver and other precious minerals, and the United States still at the leading position on those minerals right now. But this is why Russia and China have been stockpiling these minerals. So, guys, we're in a really perilous moment right now. And of course, we're heading into an election in the next 70 days. So you're going to see a lot more wag the dog moments here, trying to rally your support around a Biden administration, dragging us into a regional war. This is, you can't help but wonder when all of this starts happening. This all starts happening right around election time, right? They want to distract you from what's really going on. They want to pull you into this to rally your support for the Biden administration right now. Don't fall for it. But beyond that, beyond all the politics, just don't fall for the propaganda right now. In my personal opinion, actually, it's not my opinion. It's my opinion based on fact. If you read John Mearsheimer's great book, The Israel Lobby, he makes the point through facts and evidence that there's zero benefit to the United States being involved in a Middle Eastern war right now, or ever, or in the Middle East in general. There's zero benefit to the United States. You'll hear members of Congress saying, we got to throw our support behind Israel in that region. Great. Glad you feel that way. Why? Can you answer us why? Why does the United States have to send men and women to die in the Middle East? Can you explain exactly why that is and what benefit there is to the United States? Because we have to support our allies in the region. Okay, but you still haven't answered the question, why? How does it benefit the United States of America for us to send people to die or have military bases in the Middle East? Well, we've got to support our friends in the region. Okay, you still haven't answered our question. And as John Mearsheimer points out in his excellent book, there's zero benefit. Is it going to fix your roads and bridges in the United States? Is it going to stop the flood of illegal immigrants pouring across the southern border? No, it's not. It's absolutely not. In fact, it's taking money away from us. Billions of dollars being repatriated, sent out of the United States into Israel, a country, by the way, that has a budget surplus and has a space program, but we need to send them billions of dollars while the United States is crumbling. I'm sorry, $35 trillion in debt is the United States right now. And so they are going to agitate for us to send more money and more weapons into this region. And what is that going to do to the US dollar? Of course, it is a destabilizing event for the US dollar. We saw the jobs report last week. They had to revise the Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers. They had to revise those numbers down. 818,000 jobs that the Biden administration lied to us. They padded those numbers and told us that they had created those. In fact, no, they didn't. Those numbers were a lie. They were a fabrication. And the jobs they did create were government jobs. Government jobs. And also the non-government jobs they created were using taxpayer-granted monies in order to make those purchases, in order to hire those individuals. Is non-recourse financing means the purchase of the property is not tied to you personally. It's not tied to your debt situation, okay? So you're going to be able to purchase the property, and right now, the interest rates are questions for you. So you say you have no cash flow at the moment, meaning you're unemployed or you don't have any cash flow coming in you don't have any income coming in, but you do have $800 coming in from a cash flowing rental property that's totally paid off. So I would be presented a unique overlap in the investing world right now.
Yeah, so this video, the title of it is "We're Going to War and the U.S. Dollar is About to Change." So if you notice that the last two previous videos, they tie into this right here. So if a war breaks out, we know that's going to affect the food chain, the supplies coming in out of America, and then it also is going to affect the economy. So we know it's election coming, and we know that Kamala Harris is taking lead in the polls, so you should be expecting anything to happen. Okay.
And not only that, Mr. Leonard, but Kamala Harris is saying, we're not worried about the food. She's saying, I'm going to give y'all money to buy houses.
Okay.
You can't eat that concrete. You can't eat that house. We in a recession right now. And she running off of giving money for 20. You can get this money for a house. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah,
people are trying to eat. But you talking about you want to give out this money for houses. And another thing I want people to understand too, because what, 2 years ago, a year ago, what did they say? Everybody keeps saying, watch the water. Watch the water.
Right.
We.
Exactly. Yeah, this video right here, I think this is some need to know information. I think David, I kind of summed up the situation, especially from things that I've been saying about how this whole thing is a controlled demo job. And then a lot of people don't understand just how divisive Esau is, these Edomites, how they manipulate everything. Okay.
Hold up the power of the East, they are dismantling the power of the West. financially in this case, but in all other areas as well. And when I spoke earlier about politicians who represent the cult, not the people of the country they're supposed to represent, well, the sanctions against Russia is a wonderful example, because they weren't sanctions on Russia at all. They were sanctions on the West. I mean, it's all a game. And it's to kid ourselves that there are two sides fighting each other, when actually there's one side fighting you.
David Icke, a former BBC sports journalist, is known for his controversial views on global politics and economics. He argues that the current geopolitical landscape is a facade orchestrated by a hidden elite to manipulate global power dynamics. According to David, the power shift from the West to the East is deliberate, with financial systems in the West being systematically dismantled. He believes that politicians serve the interests of this elite, rather than the people they are supposed to represent. A prime example, he suggests, is the sanctions imposed on Russia, which he claims are actually designed to weaken the West, rather than Russia itself. This, he argues, is part of a larger game to create the illusion of opposing sides, when in reality, there is only one side controlling the narrative. David also discusses the end of the petrodollar agreement between the United States and Saudi Arabia, which has been in place for about 50 years. This development, he warns, could have severe repercussions for the US economy, and by extension, the global economy. The petrodollar system has been a cornerstone of US economic strength, and its dissolution could lead to significant economic instability. David suggests that these changes are part of a broader strategy by governments to control financial resources, urging viewers to understand these dynamics to protect their assets. Also, you may have heard about the arrest of Telegram's founder and CEO Pavel Durov, who was asked to share the user's data, but he denied. So, he has been arrested in France, which further legitimized the stance of David Icke that we have been cornered from all sides to not have money and free speech anymore. So let's listen to him again about what more theories he has for us.
We are looking at the West being dismantled from within by those politicians that are put there by the global cult. I mean, you can see aspects of it with the World Economic Forum and its young leaders that turn up later to be the leaders of Western countries and non-Western countries too. But that's what's going on. You know, these people like Starmer, that is likely to come in, very likely to come in as barring a miracle, as Prime Minister of Britain. He's a cult representative. The people around Biden, not Biden, what he's doing, but the people around Biden, they're representing the cult. The people around Trump, despite what is his natural constituency, which is not wanting this stuff, the people immediately around him will be those that are representing the cult. So it's not about national governments. It's about that which is controlling national governments. And as you rightly say, Saudi Arabia has had its orders. They're going to drop the dollar, and they drop the dollar. And the implications are going to be enormous. Well, the banks, as I said earlier, are holding on for dear life.
The bankers.
You've got an economy. Again, I'll use the same analogy I've used many, many times. The global economy, not least the American economy, is like those cartoon characters who are chasing each other.
Okay.
We are going to go over.
Hey, Mr. Leonard, why
Okay.
they didn't knock him off?
So
Why he haven't been knocked off? Come on, everybody been telling the truth. You know, people that's telling the truth been knocked off. But this man has not been touched. Think about that. David Icke done wrote books and everything. He ain't been knocked off one time.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yes, sir.
He's part of the equation. Yeah.
Exactly. He's part of it because they got to tell you, like the Bart Simpsons, the Simpsons.
Right, exactly.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Okay, something?
forward, even though there's fresh air underneath them. And then eventually one of them looks down, sees what the situation is, and they all fall into the ravine. And that's the global economy. It's all based on confidence. I mean, what does a dollar, what is a dollar worth, right? It's a piece of paper with some printing on it. So it's worth nothing. What its value comes from is what people perceive its value to be. It's all a mind game. It's all a confidence trick.
And so that's a perfect example. Like I said before, this ain't nothing new right here, what they did with the dollar. They did the same thing with JC. He ain't got nothing to do with us as Israelites or with the world, but they just propped it up like he do. Just like with the diamond. Before the white folks came on the scene, the African and even the Israelites, they're kicking diamonds around. That diamond wasn't, they possessed some, but it wasn't of no immense value like they have now. It's when Cecil Rhodes, they put connected diamonds, these Edomites, bankers, put a propaganda machine on the diamond, connected it to the love and the white woman and all that, and now they're making money off of it when it really ain't even hitting on nothing. When brainwashed to react to it, like you brainwashed react to the dollar, brainwashed to react to JC.
Just like you said last night, you read in Enoch. You was reading in Enoch. Guess where your value's at? When you walk away from your idols, guess what? Your strength increase.
Right.
You start to become better. You start healing yourself when you walk away from them idols. So they got to keep you docile, like them diamonds.
Right.
Because you the diamond of the rough. That's why everybody want us. Yes, sir.
Right. Exactly. Sin brings sickness.
Yes, sir. That's why everybody got sugar. You got that sugar and the diabetes and heart failure and everything because you worshiping idols.
Right.
Yes, sir. You're going to crush them into diamonds because pressure bust pipes.
That's something? Okay.
And if you believe that it's worth a lot of money, you will then invest in it, and you'll buy dollars. If you think it's on its arse, that's the last thing you got to do is buy dollars. The whole thing comes down. And so, given that the banking system is already in a perilous state, not least in America, not only in America either, then what is this going to do? It's going to exacerbate that situation. I think you're going to see, as the weeks and months unfold, you're going to see a lot more banks go bust. Smaller banks to start with, maybe, but then the bigger ones start. And so the situation with inflation, the situation with price increases from a falling dollar, I mean, the more the dollar loses value, the less it can buy, and the more dollars you're going to need to buy what you bought before. It's called inflation. So the implications and the potential consequences, Jay, of this decision are, it's not possible to overstate them. And this is the start, you see. It's a big step because it's Saudi Arabia and the oil and the rest of it. But you're going to see more and more people doing this, and more countries doing this. And it's just going to go on worsening, because as they build up the power of the East, they are dismantling the power of the West, financially in this case, but in all other areas as well. And when I spoke earlier about politicians who represent the cult, not the people of the country they're supposed to represent, well, the sanctions against Russia is a wonderful example. because they weren't sanctions on Russia at all. They were sanctions on the West. It was the sanctions that pushed up energy prices and helped to fuel inflation. And all it did for from a Russian point of view is move them closer to China.
Furthermore, David argues that the World Economic Forum, WF, plays a crucial role in orchestrating a global agenda aimed at establishing a new world order. According to David, influential figures within the WEF strategically position leaders in Western countries to further their agenda of consolidating power and wealth among a select elite. He suggests that politicians like Keir Starmer in the United Kingdom and Joe Biden in the United States are not true representatives of the people, but rather puppets of this elite group, whose ultimate goal is to impoverish the masses and centralize control. David's perspective is that the WF, through its annual meetings and initiatives, acts as a platform for these elites to coordinate their strategies without accountability. The WEF is often criticized for being an opaque venue, where political and business leaders make decisions away from public scrutiny. This perception fuels David's narrative that the WEF is a key player in a broader conspiracy to manipulate global systems and maintain control over populations. The economic...
Yeah, so like I said before, this is where Esau strive at right here. We're pro at it, and so what we're looking at is a control demo job right in front of our face. Bring it down the West. They're through with it. We saw the same thing during the World War I and World War II. When they brought state of Israel into existence. All that was planned, controlled. Bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes, and then they got a propaganda machine which you looking at, but behind the scenes they working their jelly. And Esau pro with that.
Same thing with Bill Gates. Everybody think Bill Gates is some great guy and all of this other stuff. Oprah Winfrey, and all these other people.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right, the puppets. And there's some. Yeah, so we'll open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions, comments about dialogue about anything they want to talk about before we go into the book of Enoch?
I just want to say all praise the Most High. For us that's waking up and really into this work, you getting life extended to you. You're going to look like you. You're going to keep flourishing. And if you're not dealing with this, you're going to grow old. Bones is your destiny. Facts.
Is there some? Yeah, so we always hearing about the deep state. I'm going to play this a little bit of this because I thought it was pretty interesting. Let me hear it.
To seal the border, vote Trump. If you want to restore law and order in this country, vote Trump. If you want to defeat the deep state, vote Trump.
Hey Johnny. Hey PUBG. I'm having a really hard time wrapping my head around this story, I must admit.
And this concept of deep state has been so, I think, poisoned by politics and Trump sort of using it for everything that he doesn't like. And it kind of makes it hard to approach it earnestly. But I think we have to keep digging. I think there's something here.
Is the deep state real?
Is the deep state real?
If I had to vote, Mr. Leonard, if I had to vote, I'm voting for Kamala Harris. If I had to vote. If I had to vote, I will vote for her because I know it's the end. That's what I'm saying. It's funny. Yes, sir.
Ain't that something?
Let's get it over with. Let's be done.
Ain't that something?
Hey guys, Toby Mathis here.
Okay.
Were you really like see how this actually works, like where power really is. To the height of this moment where the US and the Soviet Union are in this like massive staring contest. There's nuclear weapons involved. Everyone thinks the entire globe could be wiped out.
Yeah, check this out, man. This is real revealing.
Out in this conflict, and Cuba is centered right in the middle of it all, right off the coast of the US, but they're on the Soviet side of the conflict. The US at this point wants nothing more than to snatch Cuba, to make it their own, and they've been trying to kill Fidel Castro a million different ways. They're looking for an excuse to invade. And to push back on all of this, the Soviets actually start shipping nuclear weapons to the island. The US has no idea until one day a spy plane is flying over the island and they snap this wild photo. I mean, it doesn't look like a wild photo, it just looks like a random field in Cuba. But you zoom in and you see canvas tents, trailers, missile launch equipment. I mean, the US government immediately knows what they're looking at here. The world's most destructive weapons are actually hiding under these tents, ready to launch, sitting right in the United States' backyard, right off their coast. Nuclear war 103 miles away.
Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation on that imprisoned island.
It's a crisis, a Cuban missile crisis. And one man in Washington, D.C. suddenly has a really difficult decision to make. Everyone around him wants him to invade Cuba, but he's not sure. Okay, but here's the kicker of the whole thing. Instead of stay at work that night and like figure out this crisis with his advisors, Kennedy gets in a car and travels across town
in a car
to like a cocktail party. He came here to a house in Georgetown, the home of Joe Alsop, one of the nation's most influential newspaper columnists. It was the eve of nuclear war, and the President of the United States kept his dinner date in Georgetown. And the reason why is because at that party were the people he trusted, the people who really had power in Washington during that time. Most of them lived here in this neighborhood, many of them side by side, all within a few blocks.
So like I said before, they ain't never left. They came here, and they got way back in the day, 13 colonies, those Edomites. They still in the same place today, up in Boston, up where the capital. That's the reason capital is up there. Boston, Massachusetts, Philadelphia, that whole region. That's where all the Edomites at. They never left.
And New York, full of them in New York. Yes, sir. Brooklyn is full of them.
Right, just like the so-called state of Israel in 1948. Well, when they left Spain, like I told you, the Romans gave Herod and and the Edomites, who were in the land of Israel during the time of 70 AD, they gave them safe passage to Spain and Portugal. That's where the transatlantic slave trade came from. That's where the Nina the Pin and the Santa Marina came from. It came here, trying to escape the curses of Ezekiel 35 that the Most High Lord Hosts had on them. So they came here. That's who the bulk of the 13 colonies was. Like I said, they still in that region today.
And they say the same thing about Hitler. Yep. Hitler ran them out too, and they try to say it was a Holocaust. But they don't want to say what they did in order to get kicked out. That's the problem.
Right. And then people wonder why so much money is coming out of our government and out of the White House going to Israel, because the actual people that's running the government, they're all around Washington, D.C. So, you know what I'm saying? So let's check it out.
Colby, the Far East chief of the CIA, he would later become the director of the agency. Chip Bolin, a former ambassador to the Soviet Union. Alan Dulles, Alan Dulles, where to even start? The CIA's longest running director, and he lived right here in Georgetown. Frank Wiesner, one of the founding officers of the CIA. He lived just 6 blocks away. Felix Frankfurter, a Supreme Court justice, just a couple minutes walk away. And Kennedy himself had a house in this neighborhood. The
the reason JFK kept his date in Georgetown that night was because this is where power in Washington was. On the other side of town from the Capitol building, the seat of American democracy. The decisions were being made here by unelected men who had an immense amount of secret power.
Oh, the Harley.
These were powerful men who were not elected or accountable. And at this point, they'd become drunk on the worst kind of power, the secret sort of power that corrupts, the kind of power that our founders sought to check and balance with all of their founding documents. But here in Georgetown, it had moved beyond anything the designers of the country could have predicted into a shadowy, separate part of our government, a deep state that was actively blackmailing the Congress and working to undermine the President of the United States and being horrifyingly successful at it.
Unelected deep state operatives who defy the voters to push their own secret agendas.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday of getting back at you. So
you know what, Mr. Leonard? It's a difference between when they talk about walking in drunkenness. See, people got to look at that. Oh, right. Walking in drunkenness. Now, drunkenness can be twofold, right? Because they walking in drunkenness.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. You can get the vines off the grapes, or you can take over communities, countries.
Right. And so, like I said before, it's these people right here to this very day. Whenever you thinking that the president being elected, but no, these people right here be making a decision on who's gonna be the president and who not. Pretty much every major decision that happens in the White House comes from these Edomites.
Yeah.
You never even see.
As far as I know, we don't engage in assassinations and kidnappings and things of that kind. I do think there have to be serious questions raised about some of the foreign policy blunders that this country has had over the last 20 to 25 years.
There's some truth in the idea that there is an ongoing group of people who continue the work of government as administrations come and go. Is it possible for these entities to go rogue? Absolutely.
Was the agency involved in the kind of domestic surveillance that has been portrayed in the news reports? My feeling is not.
Okay, I'm doing this. The deep state. Is the deep state real? And if so, what is it? Before we do that, I want to take a moment to say thank you to our sponsor. NordVPN is a longtime sponsor of our channel. We couldn't make this work if we didn't have sponsors like Nord. NordVPN is a tool that we use to surf the internet more securely. A VPN allows you to connect to the internet in more secure ways or to route your connection video.
So we're ready. Okay, you can hear us like this.
Could you start by introducing yourself, who you are, and what you do, and what your relationship to this topic of the history of the CIA is?
Yeah, so my name's Jefferson Morley. I'm a journalist in Washington. I've been a journalist in Washington for the last 40 years.
In the old days, spy agencies were a war thing. When the U.S. was at war, it would set up an international spy operation to best wage that war. And when the war was over, they would pare down or totally get rid of the spy agency. The thinking here was that a spy agency took up a lot of resources and threatened civil liberties. A lot of power concentrated into a bunch of unelected people. Worth it during war, not worth it during peace. But then the biggest war of them all came to America's Pacific doorstep, and it changed everything.
And so Roosevelt now has a license, more of a license to do what he wants. And one of the first things he does is consult with a man named Bill Donovan.
Wild Bill, a corporate Wall Street lawyer who was obsessed with the power of intelligence.
Donovan had very strong opinions, and he said, you need a wartime intelligencer because you're going to war.
Wild Bill Donovan would be in charge of the Office of Strategic Services, or OSS, a centralized intelligence agency that would be given immense power to do whatever it took to keep our people safe and to keep our team on top. This was the birth of modern intelligence, a euphemism for spying and lying and cheating and deceiving and sneaking and breaking, coercing, dividing, and conquering. No idea was too crazy for the OSS during this time. Like, one OSS psychologist had this idea that Hitler could be demoralized if they just showed him a vast quantity of porn. Paramilitary operations, strapping explosives to a bunch of bats and letting them loose over Tokyo.
Guys skiing into Nazi-occupied Norway.
Making fake companies, recruiting off Wall Street from all of his old colleagues, bringing in bankers and movie directors, fake radio stations, anything to demoralize, divide, or confuse the enemy.
The OSS is the first intelligence agency that the United States ever had.
Oh, and one of Wild Bill's favorite things to do was to have parties at his house.
Are we the first ones?
Big night.
Okay. So to make everything short, make it short, that OSS eventually became the CIA. So CIA, that's the Meadamites, the deep state.
And that's no Diddy. No Diddy.
Right.
That way you
Because he
can
was part of it.
investments and passive.
And that song, that's where everything, that's where all the roads lead to. Edomites. And like I said, to that same the community that he was just talking about. They've been up there since day one. Like I said before, they left. They concocted the nation of Israel in 1948, but long before that, when they came here, they called this place New Jerusalem.
Yeah.
That was the original name when they first came here. Then it ended up becoming America. But when they first came here, they called it New Jerusalem. That's why you got people today hollering about this is America, is Israel, and all that, because they don't understand the history.
Hey, Bill Cosby, P. Diddy, Prince, all of them went along with them because we know that that's in them. They DNA. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So we want to watch all of that video I was playing. It's called The Deep State Explained. If you want to watch it. So with that being said, anybody have any comments on that question? So before we go into the book of Enoch.
No, sir.
I just look at it as we already see what happened. They got to keep us dumbed down.
Exactly.
All praise the Most High. We got to be involved in everything that they doing because we are the original. That's why child trafficking of all of our people. You go to Walmart, you see nothing but black people on the wall that been trafficking. Have you seen them?
Right.
You know, because of your inward parts and everything else is like you said it last night. We know we heal when we dealing with the Redeemer.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Right knowledge. Okay. Yeah. So last night I was reading out of Enoch chapter 69, and I was reading. I went to the fact that what we see today, these Edomites, we see how they operate, but they being instructed by somebody else, a higher power than them. And we was looking at in 69 that it says, verse 7, these angels, fallen angels. Verse 7 says, and the third, whose name was Gadriel, it is he who showed the children of men all the blows of death, and he led astray Eve, and he showed the weapons of death to the sons of men, and the shield and the coat of mail and the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to the children of men. In verse chapter 8, Enoch 69 and 8, it says, and from his hands they proceeded against those who dwell on the earth from that day and evermore. Then it says the fourth angel, whose name was Penemu, he taught the children of men the bitter and the sweet, and he taught them all the secrets of wisdom. So it's not the wisdom that Solomon was dealing with the Lord of hosts. It's another wisdom right here. And so keep going. Verse 10 says, he instructed mankind in writing with ink and paper, and thereby many sins from eternity to eternity until this day. So this was kicked off a lot of sin when he showed them how to write. In this particular way, he showed them how to write. 11. For man was created, not created for such a purpose, to give confirmation to good faith with pen and ink. So what he's saying is he showed them how to write with a purpose, like when they concoct the New Testament, how to create religions with writing. Then 12, for men were created exactly like the angels to inherit that they should continue pure and righteous, and death, which destroys everything, could not take hold of them. So they were created to be eternal beings at first. But through this knowledge that this angel taught them on writing, but through this, their knowledge, they are perishing. And through this power, it is consuming me. So what they did right here, so it didn't just pop up out of nowhere. These angels brought it down, and they showed man how to do that. How to, be religious, how to make religions, and how to like the Most High the Lord of Hosts would say, how to create a God and how to create an idol. Okay.
That's why we get the all skin folk ain't kinfolk, and they set apart. They saying they set apart, don't even know they set apart. You got the power bottom, right? You got the bottom, OTDJ.
Exactly.
We watching it all. Your Clefo Dollars, his daughter called the police on him. He went to jail. We watching all of this stuff. Let those with eyes see, let those with ears hear. Honestly, we watching it. Okay. You see it.
Thanks. So that brings us to chapter 70 and 71. And like I was saying before, the Son of Man, right? We know that the Son of Man is a man that the Most High dealing with, that he called out. That's all Son of Man is. They took Son of Man and made it something else. But let's read it. It says they put it on JC and lifted him up and glorified him with that Son of Man. So it says in chapter 70, came to pass after this that his name during his lifetime was raised aloft to that Son of Man and to the Lord of spirits from among those who dwell on earth. We're going to see who the Son of Man is. 2, and he was raised aloft on the chariots of the Spirit, and his name vanished among me. And from that day, I was no longer numbered among them. So it's Enoch talking, right? And he says in verse 2, and he was raised aloft on chariots, right, of the Spirit, and his name vanished from among them. So, Enoch was taken up. That's what we talk about. Enoch was taken up, and he vanished from among men. He was not. So anyway, and he set me, to Enoch talking, he set me between two winds, between the north and the west, where the angels took the cords to measure for me place of the elect and the righteous. And there I saw the first fathers and the righteous, who from the beginning dwelled in that place. So this chambers, when the Israelite passes away, this way he goes. And it says that Abraham was gathered into his fathers. He's going to this place right here. So anyway, chapter 71. And it came to pass after this that my spirit, this Enoch talking, was translated and ascended into heaven. And I saw the holy sons of God stepping on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment and their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like a halogen. And I fell on my face before the Lord of spirits. It says, and the angel Michael, one of the archangels, seized me by my right hand and lifted me up and led me forth into all secrets. So we see right here, the question was asked the other day about who the Lord of spirits was. You see right here, it says, verse 4, I saw two streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like a halogen, and I fell on my face before, check it out, it's Enoch talking, I fell on my face before the Lord of spirits. Then verse 6, and the angel Michael. So angel Michael is not the Lord of spirits, it's Yahweh. So the angel of Michael, one of the archangels, seized me by my right hand, lifted me up, and led me forth into all secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of the righteousness. And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of heaven. So Michael is showing Enoch all of this, a man from the earth. And he showed me all the chambers of all the stars and all the luminaries which they proceeded before the face of the holy ones. And he translated my spirit into heaven, into the heaven of heavens. And I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystal. So we know who was in the heavens of heaven, Lord of spirits. And he says,
Yeah, so we asked the question, where's JC at? Was he there?
no.
He's saying these angels walked
Right.
him through this place. He's seen trees. He said, what's that tree? What's this? What's that?
Right.
And an angel speaking to him. Michael and Ariel, they all speaking to him.
Right.
Where's JC at?
Right. So verse 10 says, and between these crystals, so notice it says a house there. 9. And he translated my spirit into the heavens of heavens, and I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystal. So this structure is the temple that's in heaven, which belonged to Yahweh. So, like I said before, the temple that the Israelites building in Jerusalem ain't Yahweh temple. He already got a temple right here. The temple they building in Jerusalem for the Lord of hosts, the God of the whole earth. So anyway, it says 10, and between those crystals, tongues of living fire, and my spirit saw the girdle which encircled the house, that house of fire. And on its four sides were streams full of living fire, and they were bound to that house. And round about were seraphim, cherubim, Ophium, and these are those who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, even thousands and thousands and tens of thousands times 10,000, encircling the house, right? So let's look at that right quick. So in heaven, Yahweh had the house. In the heaven of heaven, it's angels all around. Well, you come to the earth, as above, so below. You got the temple of the Lord of hosts temple that's in Jerusalem. You got Levites, the Israelites all around you. Okay. So anyway, 14, and Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel, and Phinel, and the holy angels who are above the heavens go in and out of that house. The holy ones, the only ones go in and out of that house. 15.
Not only that, but they said that it was by water the first time, but this time it's by fire. So now we hear the fire. He's telling you the fire.
Right. See why it's fire. Right. 15, and they came forth from the house, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Phinel, and many holy angels without number, and with them the head of days. His head was white and pure as wool, and his raiment is indescribable. And I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured. See that? Now go back to JC. Remember, he's supposed to be transfigured? That's where it comes from, right here. And I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured. And I cried with a loud voice with the spirit of power, and blessed and glorified and extolled him. So this he is the Lord, this the head of days, he extolled. 19, these blessings which went forth out of my mouth or well pleasing before the head of days. And then here we go. We're gonna find out right here who the Son of Man is. Right? It says, and that head of days came with Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Phinel, and thousands and tens of thousands of angels without number. Now here you go, right here. And the angel who talked with me, that's Michael, Lord of hosts, came to me, greeted me, greeted Enoch with his voice, and said unto me, said unto Enoch, this is the Son of Man. See that? Enoch is the Son of Man, who was born unto righteousness, and righteousness abide over him, and the righteousness of the head of days forsake him not. So why was Enoch even taken up? Because he was so righteous. He was taken up. So they took all this right here, put it on JC. He was born without sin, but it's coming from right here. So
JC had to have the eyelashes, the fake hair, and all this other stuff.
Right.
You know, it's always contrary because we keep the holy days, they keep the holidays. So when you saying what you're saying, hey, the eyelashes and all that, that's on one side of the mountain. And we on one side of the mountain. Facts.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So Michael came to him in verse 23 and told him, you is the Son of Man, who was born unto righteousness, and righteousness abides over you. And the righteousness of the head of days, the Lord of hosts, Yahweh, forsake him not. And he said unto me, he proclaimed unto thee peace in the name of the world to come. For from hence has proceeded peace since the creation of the world, and so shall it be unto thee, Enoch, forever and forever and forever. And all shall walk in his ways, since righteousness never forsaken him. With him will be their dwelling places, and with him their heritage, and with they shall not be separated from him forever and ever. And so there shall be long or length of days with that Son of Man, Enoch, and the righteousness shall have peace and upright way in the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. So
but that ain't too many hymns, too many he's.
Right.
Too many men that's running something.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So contrary to that, we got to get the feminist movement, and we got to be contrary. We say we have the they always say that we keep the holy days, they keep the holidays, right? So it's always contrary. So when you talk about a man, you can't talk about that. It's not right.
Right. They
up and down.
They took their pagan religion and wrote it into ours. That's all we do right now. And the Creator is overturning it, like he said. When he come back,
yes, sir.
Everything right side up.
Yes, sir. And that's what we're saying. And for people that's on this channel or people that hear this, you got to understand, you got to know your role. All praise the Most High. It ain't feminism. It ain't masculinity. It's knowing your role. Thus saith the Most High.
Okay.
Get in where you fit in. All praise.
Right. So with that being said, anybody have any questions or comments about what was read? It was I read out of the book of Enoch, chapter 70 and 71, and what it did was it identified who the Lord of Spirits is, identified who the head of days is, and it also identified who the Son of Man was in the book of Enoch. So like I said before, this is one of the main reasons why they shunned this book. It's because it connects a lot of dots, and it it puts the New Testament in place where it's supposed to be at.
And not only that, Mr. Leonard, what it does is put things in perspective. It's a perspective. It's a Lego. It's concrete. I can go, I want a driveway poured in my front yard. Guess what? I need rebar. I need concrete. I need digging. I need all this. And I got a good driveway. I'm not mad at them. They gave me a driveway. But see, the thing about us is we so stiff-necked and hard-hearted.
Right.
That's where it's coming from. The stiff-neck and being hard-hearted. I don't want to be the bottom. First shall be the last, and the last shall be first. I don't want to be the last.
Right.
But it's so messed up that you are. And that's the problem that we have. And all praise the Most High. Because, hey, if you a Hebrew woman or a Hebrew man, you got to understand what happened. That's it.
Right.
And accept your faith.
Exactly.
7-1 or whatever it is. I don't care whatever it is. Accept your faith.
Right. So,
but a lot of people don't want to.
Right. Exactly. Right. So, if you want to come in on and be able to come up on, and you have to call, give us your number, and we can send you the link so you can come in. You don't have no questions today, James? No, we don't get to talk that much. So everybody good?
Hey, they can come in and do their thing, but at the same time, we already know it's the Creator, the Redeemer, and then us. Now, right. I'm not disrespecting nobody, but it's the Creator, the Redeemer, and then us. So if you can prove me wrong, I'm good.
Right. Yeah, that's already that's set in stone. I mean, if you go back to all of the verses and the chapters and the videos that we have played, we know the order that was in place in the beginning. Created the Lord Yahweh created these 7 angels, and like I was showing last night, he says that he created man in an angel's image. So that tells you right there who it was. In Genesis 1:26 said, let us go down and create man in our image. It was angels. And then we know that Adam was put to sleep and brought forth the woman. So there go your order right there.
That's what I'm saying. Did the woman go to sleep and bring forth the man? I'm not hating on the women. I love my sisters. But there's an order to this.
Right.
So I can't pray it. Think about this, Mr. Leonard. I can't pray to the Redeemer if I'm not in one accord with him. I can't do it. I don't like it. That's it. But this is a man. This is a black man. Burnt brass hair of wool. I don't want to deal with him. I get it. That's fine. You don't have to deal with him. But you know what? It is what it is.
Exactly.
Women don't run nothing but their motherfucking mouth. Excuse my French. Or they... Never mind. I got to get out of this.
Right. So
all praise, brother.
Okay. So it's it's an order to the prayer also. So you cannot be out of line and pray. And the prayers ain't, they ain't doing nothing. Like you said, it's smoke. It ain't going nowhere, it's just smoke. So you got
who he gonna hear? Is he gonna hear her prayers or he gonna hear mine first?
Right. But it's about not only that, but it's about an order. You have to have, it's an order, it's a way to like I said, a great example is when Daniel prayed. He looked at the books and what Jeremiah had prophesied. And after he saw that Jeremiah said they were going to be in Babylon for 70 years, and he looking at it was 69 years, Cyrus was on the scene. The Babylonian kingdom was over with. He started praying.
Yes, he
Fasting.
did. Yes, sir. Because that's what we do. We humble ourselves.
What I'm saying is, it's an order to that. So he fasted and prayed. And then another thing about it, they have us doing it that's not part of our culture is Daniel was praying continually until he get an answer. That's why.
Is that accountability? That's real life. That's accountability. Nobody wants to give accountability to the Most High. Everybody think they deserve something.
Right.
When it comes to men, there's accountability. That's why he's dealing with the men. Right. I'm not hating on the women. I'm not. I love y'all women. But it's
accountability for the angels.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. So therefore, the Most High said that I'm coming as the creator. I gave the Redeemer Israel as his inheritance. So now he got the men of that. So therefore, how are you going to disrespect me? Now, the rest of them is trash. We can see the trash of it. But there are still people that's dealing with the Redeemer. And that's where you need to be at the end of the day.
Right.
You know? And people don't understand that. They think that, oh, all men ain't this, all men. But as soon as you say all women ain't this, then guess what? You got a problem because it's not all women, but nobody say it's not all men. All praise the Most High. When a good man come into your life, guess what they do? They shit on him because he's a good man. They're not used to that. All praise. It's a fact.
Okay, yeah. So we got videos on the order. You want to check that out? YouTube and check out those videos. And like I said, you look at the creation story, you can see that Creator created the angels, the seven holy ones. Then he created he formed the seven holy ones, created the angels. The seven holy ones came down, made man in their image. Then from there, woman was taken from the man. And that's the order. It never changed.
Yes, sir. It never changed because they came down and they corrupted them. Correct?
The angels did.
Yes, they sure did.
Took women for wives and gave them hidden knowledge.
Exactly. So they used that hidden knowledge to manipulate their subject.
Right, exactly.
It wasn't, we didn't manipulate. I mean, I'm just being honest. It was always going to be honest when it comes to a real man of the Most High. Manipulation didn't come from the man.
Right.
Where did it come from?
Okay, what you mean?
Where did manipulation come from?
You mean air?
Men in air.
Yeah.
Manipulation. Everything didn't come from us.
Right.
I'm not disrespecting any women or nothing. But they found out, hey, let's just say the feminist movement. So where did that come from? How you can manipulate? How could you destroy a man? Eve. How could you do this? And what women don't understand, y'all, I don't want to go there. But anyway, it's been in you to be wickedness from the beginning. The men didn't have that wickedness like that. The only one that had that manipulation was Cain. Correct?
Right. That's what confusion coming in there, because they're saying men, but and they're saying one blood, but it ain't one blood, because we know the angels came down and slept with took wives of the women of the earth and got giants. That blood
They didn't come to men to have children. They didn't come to a man.
Well, they had to go to the woman, because the woman is bring forth. The woman is to help me. They had to
Facts.
go to right.
So we already know where it started from.
The angels is.
So how could you say you innocent? How could you say you good?
Just as well.
Facts.
Yeah, it's all.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It had to start somewhere, and I'm not dogging anybody. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, we know where the seed is being planted. If I got a backyard, I'm gonna just till my backyard and put a seed in. Guess what? It's coming from the ground, correct?
Right.
From the ground up. Has nothing to do with me. It's from the ground up, just like Adam. From the ground up, had nothing to do with him. Somebody planted a seed in him, correct?
Planted a seed in Adam?
Adam. It was the ground. I made this man. I breathed into his life, and he was alive. And then I planted a seed in him. And what did the seed do? No disrespect, but it is what the seed do. I'm being honest.
Right.
It could be manipulated. I just thought I planted oranges, but now apples done came up. Thus saith the Most High. You know, it is what it is. They went outside the bunch. I'm not hating on women. All I'm saying is for women to understand where a man stands. We got to know our role. A man's supposed to take care of the household and take care of I will provide for everything. But at the end of the day, a woman still has a role, correct?
That's it.
I can give him everything I got, but you still have to provide.
Right, exactly.
All praise the Most High.
Okay.
I can't do it all myself.
Right.
I can't. That's why she's a helpmeet.
Right. That's one aspect of it. You got other aspects also. Yeah. So, yeah. Anybody else have anything else before we close out? Everybody good? Okay.
Life is good, Mr. Leonard. Shalom, brother.
It's all good.
I appreciate the class. I had to come on tonight. You know, I ain't gonna come on too many times, but I had to come on tonight.
Right.
Ain't nothing but love. You know, I don't hate on my women. I love my sisters.
Okay.
But we need to understand our role.
Right.
And men know their role. We know. That's why you speak in this. Your role is to do this 5-6 days out the week.
Right.
That's your role. What about everybody else? Nobody else know their role though. There we go. Shalom.